Hello and welcome. I'm the Restless Kaiser.
And I'm Woolly Mike, but together we are Modelling for Advantage. Operation Plunder.
Operation Plunder?
Yeah.
No. Operation Varsity. Everyone knows that.
Operation Varsity was the parachute element where they crossed the Rhine, landed on the other side, secured the land. Following up was Plunder, was the Infantry, Buffalo Amphibious,
Right.
and lots of heavy Bailey bridges, because they weren't worried about capturing the bridges. They wanted to capture the crossing points. So, evening of March the 23rd, 1945, paratroopers land, start securing.
But unlike at Market Garden, the army is half a day away.
Not even that.
Not weeks.
So, by the evening of the 24th, you've got the infantry and armour already on the other side of it. The bridges that were captured. And everybody was moving forward. So
nice. All that, we're not even opened the box for you yet. What comes in it, Woolly?
42 plastic infantry.
So that is more than you usually get in these sets. We're going to talk about that in a minute, I think.
Warlord resin, 2 medium machine guns, 1 medium mortar team, and a platoon commander.
Nice.
1 metal 25-pound anti-tank gun with resin crew.
Iconic.
A Humber Mark II/4 armoured car.
Mark IV, you want for this period.
Sherman Firefly.
Oh, yes.
Bases, decals, and vehicle damage markers.
All right. I said starter, I meant starter armies. This is one of the newer ones, like the German veterans. So, this set is the first set that's included the British winter infantry. What I love about it is the jerkin, sir. The leather jerkin. So that'll keep you warm, lad. A First World War legacy item, very popular with the soldiers. Leather, unlike a lot of other materials, among other things, it's more windproof.
Yeah.
I'm from the north, where it's always windy, and when it's cold and windy, you don't want something waterproof, you want something windproof.
Yeah.
And it seemed to me, my experience, that leather is one of the few materials that's pretty windproof.
Yeah, so this is described as the Winter Army. We're talking about crossing the Rhine end of March.
But it's Central Europe.
Central Europe.
It's still probably pretty cold.
It might be warm during the day.
Yeah.
But in the evenings and at night. So we have got a jam-packed full.
Absolutely. There's no real space here. All right, we're going to sort out the contents of this box and we'll be right back. Alrighty, so before we get going with going through the items in detail, we get our bits. So we get our smoke and fire markers that we have for your vehicle is on fire. I have fired smoke. They even provide you with some little MDF bases. There's no consistency. Sometimes they give you the lit plastic bases and sometimes they give you MDF ones. Anyway.
I found the MDF ones useful for terrain and, because they got a bit more weight to
objectives and stuff. Yeah. Got a decal sheet. I'm going to get my reading glasses out to see the decal sheet. We've got a few decal sheets because we do have 2 vehicles in here. Ah, yes, of course. Okay, so this looks like the generic one. This is British Armour decal, which has got I'm pretty sure the squares is for your, not Matildas, Churchills. I think it's for your tanks rather than armour. The circles are probably more appropriate for the Firefly. And we've even got our Armoured Division badges. So there's 7th Armoured, for example, etc. These red squares are the regiment numbers. In 21st Army Group, if you look at the Desert War, you'll see the tanks have all got what seem to be random numbers on them because they're not random, but there's no consistency in the system. Whereas in 21st Army Group, they standardised the numbers so the Germans couldn't identify how many regiments there were.
Yeah.
So in all of the armoured divisions, you have a 50, 51, 52, and it's about the regimental seniority. Like in not seniority, which is most important, which is the oldest regiment. There is an order of seniority in the British Army, and it matters to them. So some regiments are considered senior to others, and it's just the 51 is the most. I think 50 is the headquarters unit, and then the brigade. The headquarters brigade, and then the 1, 2, 3 are the various armoured regiments, which are each fielding a battalion. So that's that. This one is for the Humber armoured car. So because this makes the Mark II version, which is a desert one, again, it's got your Desert Rats thing. this badge under here, the white and blue 76, and the 41 and 44 up here, these are for the different eras. So these, where you see these, it's the equivalent of the red numbers here for a different branch of service. So it's infantry battalions and tank regiments. Main battle line units have the red squares. So the blue and green is a recon. And I suspect that the green and white one there is the desert equivalent of a recon before they'd standardized it, which is why it's with the Desert Rats logo. So that's for the Humber. And you want to be using, sorry if it wasn't clear, you want to be using the green and blue one there. And then these are arm patches for either British 3rd Infantry or, British 3rd Infantry or Canadian 3rd Infantry, and these are shoulder patches and epaulets and things, and I still can't believe they make these. These are tiny, but if you've got the patience to cut them out that small and put them on, they really do lift the models. And you get a little medic stripe that you can wrap all the way around his arm. But yeah, shoulder boards and stuff like that, beautiful. So comprehensive decal set. It's good because they sometimes skimp on that stuff. Last few bits.
Large MDF base for the 25-pounder.
They're increasingly, a few years ago, they started issuing them with their artillery. I think, although bolt action doesn't have a standard artillery base size, I think that's it. It just isn't in the rule book, but that's what they expect you to use nowadays.
And then your weapons teams, because we've got 2 machine guns and a mortar.
2 machine guns and a mortar, yeah. And then we get our destruction.
Mirella! Lovely
Packed by Mirella. This is for the Humber Mark 2 and 4. A lot of their newer kits have an instruction booklet. The Humber Mark 2 is one of their newest vehicles. It came out a year or 2 ago. And it's not one of these repurposed artillery kits. It's a wargaming kit, not a model kit. There's a couple of fiddly bits just because it's an armoured car and it's got aerials on it. But basically, this is a 20-piece model kit. Goes together really well. It'll build the 2 or 4. The 2, as I say, is an earlier desert version. Functionally, they're basically the same, but they do look a bit different.
Firefly.
Sherman Firefly. Yeah, so this probably is an artillery one. We're going to talk about the kits in more detail later.
And then what's on the sprue, and if you're unsure of what you're looking at, it's got a nice key list there, some examples, and also your colour schemes.
These are the paints I use. And normally, these things have quite random mixtures of paints because it's from their studio painters. And their studio painters use the range of paints that they prefer. So whichever guy did these, so on here we've got, what's WP? I'm not even sure what paint range it is. WP Fanatic.
That's the Army Painters War Paints. You know, they've done this historic. You can now buy a box of 20 paints. There's a British one, there's an American one, there's a German one.
From Army Painter.
From Army Painter, but it's their historical war paints.
So it's Army Painters historic set. But sometimes these are in like AK paint, and sometimes they're in more than one paint range. So I don't know whether they're doing a deal with Army Painter or whether and ask them to do it. But I love the fact that they give you that key. If you want to reproduce the look that's on the box, these are the paints you need to use, right down to it. All right, where shall we start then, Woolly?
Infantry, 7 sprues.
7 sprues of infantry. So there's 40, is that 42?
42.
7 times 6 is 42. 42 guys, which is at least 6 more than you normally get in there. This infantry sprue is brand new. Or it was at time of release of this box. It's been out for a couple of months now. I don't think it's got a year on it, but it is a 2025 sprue. 6 very different poses. There's one guy in a greatcoat who's kind of walking, and the other 5 are in jerkins. It's a much looser uniform. Is it padded, do you think? It's quilted or lined?
The trousers look padded, yeah.
They're baggier, they're bulkier than the normal ones. So you're not going to be able to mix these in with your ordinary guys, which is a shame because a couple of guys in a jerkin is not wrong. Although it tends to be more like drivers and gun crews. People who might spend a bit of time standing around often have a jerkin.
Yeah, because you often see with tank truant vehicles, they've got they've got no sleeves, but it's quite a heavy leather jacket, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've got Brody helmets with scrim, some with camo netting. We've got bonnets. We've got a peaked cap, and then we've got just covered, like canvas covers here.
Yeah.
And one or two, which I don't think we had before, which you've got the strap, the chin strap across the front. You know, it's almost like an American style, isn't it?
Yeah, you do see that. There's only about one of those on there. And it's when you finished everything and you notice that you've forgotten that bit.
Yeah. So, and they're loose helmets because the ones with the bonnets have got them on, but the helmets are otherwise separate because we actually have a separate sprue containing our heads. And we have got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's one with a gas mask.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 heads. Many of these heads have got balaclavas. One's got a gas mask. One's got like a scarf wrapped across his face.
Big set of goggles next to the gas mask.
Guy with goggles on. Yeah. A guy with a radio mic and headphones, which you could use in a vehicle driver or just as a radio man. And so because of the nature of these heads, a bit like one of the older British kits, your Brody helmets are all separate.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen the wartime Henry V, Laurence Olivier movie.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So, which is about Henry V and Agincourt and so forth. Because it's made during the war, it's a propaganda movie about a great British success made during the war. There aren't British men available as extras. They're all on war service. So the extras are all Americans. They're all American soldiers who were in Britain on training in the mid-40s and waiting for D-Day or whatever. And you'll see that because it's very similar style helmet to the Brody, and they're all wearing them at an angle, and that's how you can spot the American extras. As much as you might see in movies when people are trying to sort of make the soldiers look a bit more grizzled and non-conformist, the British soldier pretty much wore his Brody helmet straight on, as it was intended. But an American in a Brody helmet, that's a different thing altogether. So I would encourage you to put them on properly. But if you wanted to put them on at an angle, you can. Just
before going on to the main sprues, I noticed here as well, this it must be a new feature. All of the backpacks are different.
Yes, it's not a new feature. It's one they've been doing when they've done the newer kits. And I really like it. Just to stop them being identical. So a couple of these have got the ubiquitous enamelled mug. Yeah. I love that. Paint your blue rim, please. When you paint your enamel mug, you need good eyes for that. But they're all very slightly different. A couple of them have got like a bedroll in them. Some have got back, and it just means that no two guys are the same. And some of them, the difference is just how where they've put the mold for the kind of creases in the fabric has been slightly different, very slightly different. But it all helps with that kind of uniqueness in the look. Yeah. And they first did this sticking extra bits on the base sprue because there's not enough room on here. I think it was the German Paras. They came, their bases were like that, and they had the ammo pouch webbing because it's almost like puffer jacket material, isn't it? That the German Paras have in their ammo pouches. That was on a separate sprue with the bases.
Of course, what it means is there's more space on the main sprue for weapons.
Absolutely.
Other types of accessories.
Yeah, and they've really gone to town with this. So they did the American Rangers or engineers, the German veterans, they were the same thing. These are the new ones. So rather than being just an infantry sprue, this is an infantry com engineer sprue. More importantly for players this has got most of your team weapons on it. Your two-man teams are on here. So, where shall we begin?
We start at the bottom, opposite the heads. There's a Bren gun with no arms attached to it, and then later on there's a Bren gun. And I've just noticed another thing that I really like. Both of these Bren guns have got the bipod moulded on in the folded position.
In the folded position, so you don't have to mess with it.
You don't have to glue.
You don't have to glue the bipod on. It doesn't break when you take it off the sprue.
Because it's always been a separate piece, and it's always been leg spread. And it's very difficult. So having them moulded on.
So I've got my reading glasses on, unlike you, and I can tell you that that isn't a loose Bren gun. It's got a hand on it on the barrel.
It is, yes. Yeah, I just noticed that.
So what we've got here, in terms of design, which is new, is many of the arms don't have hands on, and the hands are on the weapons to help you socket them. Which is an interesting choice. There's a couple, right at the top by the pistols.
Yeah.
But because these have been designed with separate hands, so this is intended for people carrying mostly. Only when you've built 10 models like this can you really tell if it works. But I think it's better than having the arm. The problem with when you have to slot a weapon into an open hand is the hand is often massive that it's going into, on top of the 3 different moving parts gluing. So having the hand moulded on there and a socketed arm that's designed to take it, hopefully that means it fits better, and that's for the one that's carrying it. Ooh. So how's he carrying it different? Oh, it's for carrying it over the shoulder by the barrel, which the regulations definitely tell you not to do. But I've seen a few pictures of British soldiers doing that. What's the easiest way to carry this weapon? Like that, by the barrel, just because of the weight distribution.
The weight's closer to the shoulder, isn't it?
Yeah,
the main bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
that's that, Bren. You've got a hand to just carrying a rifle. And then a slung one, which is good. And
on the right-hand corner, we've got a flamethrower.
And that flamethrower is really easy build because it's got the 2 arms holding the weapon, so you literally just plug that into the body. Like many of these rifles,
there's 5. I've counted them. There's 5 rifles that have the both arms already on.
Right.
So that complete pieces. You've got, if you're doing the quick squad, you've got 5 of them.
You've got 5 of them you can just plug rifles into, and the other guy you could have with the slung rifle. So you don't actually have to mess about with the more complicated build arrangements if you don't want.
So we've got the Bren rifles, flamethrower. Up near the top here we've got our Piat being carried in the left hand. Several. You got shoulder strap.
Spare Piat bombs. Yeah, that's the 2-inch mortar. Those things being carried there, actually, are there 2 different sizes? Is one the mortar bomb and one that's the Piat? I think it might be.
It does, they look very different, yeah.
Yeah, so it's 21 and 19. 19 mortar ammunition, 21 Piat ammunition. Yes, those 2 are not the same thing, just miscast. 19, the smaller of the 2 is a left hand holding the mortar ammunition. So the one that's carrying slung, that's for the 2-inch mortar. And the other one is for the Piat.
Yeah. So we've got a Sten gun, we've got a Thompson, we've got the sniper rifle.
We have, we've got a scopes rifle that you can use engineering equipment. We've got a guy with wire cutters there. We've got a guy with a shovel down here. Well, not guy. We've got we've got the arms with wire cutters. The guys with the shovel, and because engineers are now different from everybody else in terms of the orders of battle, it's good that you've got these models because it's a way of saying these are engineers, and because they're arms, you can probably fit these to your other troops because these are all. You wouldn't use these bodies for an army that's not a winter army, but you could probably use the arms.
And then also at the top here by the heads, we've got a metal detector.
We have got a metal detector, which again has got the hand on, hasn't it? And just seeing, that's where this bit of paper is going to become quite important to see how they've modelled them. Yeah, so it's actually held outstretched, that one.
So I've got to correct myself, that's not the flamethrower, that's the Piat in the corner.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh.
When you turn it over.
Yes, I can see the foot for it. It's... Yeah,
because the flamethrower's up here, and it's got the inflatable donut Lifebuoy ring.
The ring. Yes. So what's just making sure that we're not. I think so. Get this the same way up. This is 18. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then as well for engineers, I've got 1, 2. We've got 3 different bags with various straps on them, which look like either satchel charges or binocular cases.
Yeah, I mean, one of them, this one with the hand, just says satchel.
Yeah.
So that could be a satchel charge. It could be something else. It could be just gear that he's carrying along. I'm just looking at the one that was like 2 here, number 17. Oh, they're just ammo pouches. So again, giving you a bit more of an engineering look. What I hadn't realised, compared to the other sprues, they've got the numbers on.
Yes.
Normally they don't have numbers on, so you're staring at this and trying to match it up from the key, as they're actually numbered on the sprue.
And I've just noted...
I wasn't even looking at the sprue. I was looking at the item on the sprue and trying to find it on the diagram, because they didn't used to put the numbers on. That's a huge improvement.
And it's very, very tiny, but I've just spotted it. Talking about the hands and the sockets.
Yeah.
Item 23.
Oh yeah, it's the Ashinko victory
What does it
sign.
say on the? What does it say?
Number 23 it probably says rude gesture or something. 23, left hand holding cigarette. Oh yes, if you look from the other side, the cigarette's sticking out. Right, so he's not actually doing that, but you could probably cut the cigarette off. He's holding a cigarette.
Yeah, it's like that comes alongside my Italian sprues with left hand doing Italian gesture.
Yeah. You definitely get one of those. Yeah. This is a belter of a sprue, isn't it? And it's taken so many cues from the things that they've learnt from their earlier kits. So there's loads of these, like you've already got both arms built in there. You don't have to do the more complicated modelling challenge unless you really want to. These engineering tools, great, so that you can signify this is an engineering unit. Look, there's a guy with a shovel in it. I don't know where you'd put his rifle though. You know, like the ones with the wire cutters or something. Is there just a loose rifle on here?
No,
I don't think there is. That's a bit of a shame. Because you could just put it on his base, or we've got a guy kneeling with the wire cutters. What's he done with his rifle? Several of the rifles have got bayonets on as well.
Yep.
The bayonets are fixed, so that's cool. You don't have many ammo pouches or anything like that to fit. They're sculpted on the model, which is nice.
Oh yes, they are. I didn't notice that previously.
They're often separate, so that. What's the reason for having them separate? Well, the reason for having them separate is your one guy with a Thompson or Sten is going to look a bit weird because he's got rifle ammo pouches. But is that the end of the world? Not really.
And they've even got the trenching tools moulded on the back as well.
Yeah. So that really cuts back on the amount of stuff that you have to do, which is good. I always found that stuff was a little bit of faff to stick on, to be honest. And there's generally only the one spot on the rump of the model where you can put it anyway. I don't know whether the British one and trenching tools were separate before. The German ones definitely were. The helmets being separate seems to be a British thing. The newer other kits didn't have this, but it's probably the nature of the Brody helmet means it's quite easy to glue it on later, and that gives them more freedom with the heads, especially with the balaclavas.
Yes. Just looking at the heads, most of them you can still use them. They've got the hair moulded.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So rather than only having the 1 or 2 heads without the helmets on,
yeah. And I think ones without the helmet on and the balaclava. The gas mask is intended for the flamethrower guy, by the way.
Yeah.
Just if you wonder what it is.
Because of health and safety. Yeah.
Because of health and safety, yeah. So you can actually make 6 flamethrower teams out of this. So the other thing to talk about is there's 42 figures here rather than 30, 36. And I think that's partly about the new organisation. One of the things I missed on my kind of first reading through Bolt Action was that headquarters teams have changed quite a bit. And that headquarters teams now normally can go up to 6, 7 guys. Some of them even bigger than that.
Yeah.
And which is probably why you have to pay points for weapons on them, because it could be quite a big squad relative. But it just makes them more useful as a combat unit.
Yes.
Like a 5 or 6 man unit has got some functionality in the game, whereas you used to have a 2-man unit that would hide at the back. And I tended to give my headquarters as Germans 3 guys with assault rifles because I felt they could actually put out some fire.
Yes.
But generally they were useless. I also like the fact that there's a lot of pistols on there. If you're really skimping and got to save a few points, you can ditch the guys in the headquarters usually, get rid of their rifles, give them a pistol and save a point. I can't believe that that's ever worthwhile, but if your list is 1,002 points, there is a space you can claw back those 2 points. I'm not sure it's the right choice though.
So, 42 figures.
Yeah.
We know we've got a commander over there.
Yes.
So, 3 10-man squads, 30 troops.
Yeah.
Then you've got the light mortar, the Piat, and
a flamethrower.
a flamethrower.
Or 2.
Yeah, because we're making the engineers. So maybe you're going to make 2 platoons and an engineer platoon out of
2
it.
rifle platoons. A rifle platoon of 2 squads. And an engineer platoon of 2 squads.
Yeah.
Which means we would need 2 HQs. I think that this is intended to be an engine. Oh, but you have to have a rifle platoon.
Yes.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. So is that even enough?
Well, this is what we did. We did a little try and calculate on previously. Yeah.
42 is not enough because you need 40 just for your core troops.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have 10-man squads. That's where you're going to save it. You're going to have smaller squads of maybe 6 or 8 to mean that you get your weapons teams. That's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do. And by this point, if you're actually playing if this is, especially if you're going Canadian, crossing the Rhine, 1945, these troops are veterans.
Yeah.
These troops should be veterans, which means you're going to get through quite a lot of points. But it's nice to see that they've got more figures to reflect the fact that with their HQs growing in size and that there are more HQs on the table. Lovely, lovely new sprue. Yeah. We've got those bits sorted out now. We'll start with a 25 pounder because that's where most of the metal is. Then we can talk about the Psyocast or Warlord resin in more detail. Now, if you've never built a Warlord metal cannon, they can be a bit of effort. However, the 25 pounder is mounted on a very long carriage, which means it keeps the barrel straight and it's relatively stubby. I think this is an earlier, although it's got a muzzle brake on it, I think the gun does get longer. There's a later version. But anyway, it's assembled in a few parts and it does go together compared to a lot of other cannon reasonably well. This piece is a disc for mounting it on, but you don't mount the gun carriage. You mount the wheels go on it so it could turn in position when it's built. The 25 pounder and the quad tractor that it came with was one of the first artillery pieces that was built as a system. It's like, this is the vehicle that's going to tow it, and this is the mount that it's going to go on when it's down, and it's all kind of designed at the same time. And it stays in service until, it's in the TA in the 60s and 70s, this thing. They're kicking around for a long, long time. And it's quite a light field piece. I think it's like 84 mil or something like that. Everybody else is generally using heavier guns, but there's something in the kind of weight bracket. Still talking about the modelling. Axle goes underneath. There is a keying point underneath here so that you line up the axle correctly, although I'm not sure whether it matters because it's a circle, and then the pins that the wheels go into. Super gluing wheels onto an axle, you might get a bit of this. I would suggest that you glue, once you've got the axle and the wheels on, that you glue it to this base, which is going to help you get everything in alignment. There is an inside track here which is going to help keep the wheels correctly spaced, because you're going to push the wheels against it. So compared to a lot of other cannon, it's fairly straightforward. This one has got 2 gun shields, and I think that's just a mispacking, because these look completely identical. Yeah. If there is a difference, I'm not seeing it. Maybe you know more. This looks like it's just a mispacking. Yeah. So that's the metal cannon. It then comes with 3 crew. So nicely, these 3 crew are in winter uniforms. They're in the same uniform as the guys. The heads and hands, it looks the same kind of shape and size. And they're doing quite interesting things. You've got a squatting guy kind of pointing. I assume he's the gun captain or the bombardier. You've got a guy, the ubiquitous "I'm carrying a shell, bro." And then this other guy dragging what I assume is a box of shells.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen this particular. This is a new pose, and it's the thing. If you're going to make Cyocast models or metal models, make them do something that a multi-pose plastic kit's not going to do very well. And this is exactly that. Yeah. Yeah. So the Cyocast Warlord resin, if you've seen earlier iterations of this and weren't very happy with it, I think it's come a long way. I think this is nice stuff. I think the fidelity on it is really good. The finish, there's a little bit of clean-up to do. Don't file it, get a very sharp knife and cut it. Where there's a few tags on here where it's been in the moulding, but the finish is nice. It is. What do you think?
Well, just looking at the backpacks, the pouches, the entrenching tools. You can see that the fabric on the cap covers.
Yeah, really nice, really nice. Yeah. You know, some of the earlier versions of this, like the faces were a bit smooth, the detail was a bit weak. This is beautiful. I think that's better than any metal.
My one complaint about the casting process is how thick these bases are.
Yes.
And I found the metal ones, when you get the flash on them, is far easier to sand down than this Cyocast.
Yeah, I think you have to cut.
Yeah. Well, what I've got is I've got a large, like 1.5 inch wide metal file that you know, the big old rasping ones.
Oh, right.
And then you can hold it.
You do that.
And you do
it wearing a mask. Because I imagine breathing the fibres in for this is really bad for you.
But that's the way I've got around it. It's a really coarse metal file. Yeah. And you're just rubbing it slowly up and down, just keeping it level. And I found that's the best way of getting it down.
Yeah, and I wonder if in the future whether they'll cast them without bases. You know, so have mould release there intended for you to glue them onto a base. Yeah. The thing is that's got its own problems, is that once you superglue models to a base, they can sometimes snap off and what have you. But I know what you mean. Compared to a metal base, the basing on these tends to be quite thick. And that is a problem in terms of, from your basing material, they're relatively high up. And they are going to look like they're stood on a mound, and you are going to have to use some, some cork or filler to taper it up, or it's going to look extremely weird.
So, well, we could use that as an example. We've got our officer in his greatcoat, and he's either cleaning or prepping his Webley.
Oh, is he? He's got the old service revolver. Yeah. Yes, it looks like it's exactly. He's cocking it, maybe.
Yeah, and then so you get the lip base.
Oh, he's got it open.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got his Webley open. This is doing something that you just wouldn't do in a kit, isn't it? It's providing, like, in a plastic kit, he's doing something different.
If I remember right, isn't the Webley where the bullets are already in like a little spring clip that you just put it in as a single instead of going one at a time like an old?
I think, I'm not a small arms guy, but I think that's just a fast loading thing, and all pistols, all revolvers have those. Yeah. If you choose to buy them.
So as I say, you've got the lip base, and his base is twice the depth of the lip, so you've got to do some trimming. But that is a nice figure.
And it's a unique figure.
Yeah.
It's a unique figure. It's not a dynamic posing like I'm doing, I'm doing gymnastics. It's a dynamic posing. The model is doing something like the guy dragging the crate. He's doing something that you couldn't make for yourself in the plastic kit, making him really stand out. So that's the officer. Yeah. We then got weapons teams.
The mortar might be club ends. So these two pieces look familiar.
Yeah.
The 60mm mortar.
No, this is the 3-inch mortar.
Is it 3-inch? Sorry,
this is the 3-inch or 80-ish mil. Yeah. The British.
So standard 2 pieces.
And it's made in metal, and I suspect it's because pieces that thin do not work well in the Warlord resin. And so they're not trying to force it to work. They're using their reliable materials. I think they should make these in plastic, in hard plastic. I think one day they will.
Yeah.
But at the moment, at least they're not making it in the SIO, in the Warlord resin. It doesn't really work.
If you've not made one of these before, one of the best ways of doing it is glue that base plate onto the base first.
Yeah.
And then you can prop this up and let it dry.
Yeah.
Try and doing it all at the same time. It all falls apart and.
Yeah.
But there's a nice solid flat surface.
Because there's a base plate on the mortar, there's enough surface to get it on the base and dry it in position and stay upright. Again, the mortar crew.
So, dropping the mortar in.
And so, the guy dropping the mortar in, the bomb in, he's not covering his ears, he's covering his face.
Yeah.
He's like, there's going to be a blast come out of there. Yeah. Which is nice. I've not seen that before. No. But it probably is a learned behaviour from having done this before. Yeah. Gunk comes out when that bomb launches, and I'm going to be right here.
The second guy's kneeling with a canister of three more rounds.
So he's got one of these faces that you can choose whether you like or not, because he's either yelling or yawning. It's hard to say.
Remember, one of the things is when you're near an explosion, if you keep your mouth open, it reduces the pressure on the ears.
Oh, is that true? Is that true?
I believe it's so.
Is that a thing that they tell you to do?
But if you round sort of like a high pressure area, if you open your mouth, it relieves because you've got that eustachian tube runs from your ear to your mouth.
Right.
Possibly opening your mouth reduces the pressure on your ears. But then we got the third guy. He hasn't got. Rather than a mortar crew, I think this is a shell shock guy.
Yeah, because this guy is literally like. And presumably, he's the gun captain.
Yeah.
Because he's not dropping the bomb or carrying the ammo. The guy in charge is the one who's going like... Ugh. Now, this is good because I often complain about when you've got a gun crew and one of the models is covering his ears and the others are not. Because you're like, if the gun is firing, they're all covering their ears. However... These guys have got jobs to do, so the guy dropping the bomb can't cover his ears at the moment he drops the bomb. And they love to give you the pose of the guy about to drop it. But he is shielding his face, that side of his face, with his hands. This guy's got his mouth open for like you described. So actually all three are responding to the fact that it's about to fire. And that's brilliant, assuming that is the case. So like keep your mouth open when you fire. And knowing soldiers, even if it isn't true, but there's that's kind of a story that's out there. Some of them would do it.
Yeah.
You know. Conversely, if it was true and it was doctrine, some of them still wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because they'd heard something different. Because that's soldiers for you. But yeah, that's a lovely mortar crew. But it does. Yeah. You could definitely double this guy up for someone who is like not only surrendering but is losing his mind because of the look on his face and both hands clasped.
If you're building a shell hole with a bit of terrain, you can pop him in there.
Yeah, make it go away. Right. Which seems to me a reasonable reaction to a gun going off seconds from your head.
So,
the iconic Vickers machine gun.
So we've got the gunner, we've got the can with the hose. There's sandbags under the tripod to keep it from moving.
Yeah, so this is a really nicely sculpted piece, again, which is better than where you got metal, because you've got those, as you say, you've got those the sandbags that it's sat on, which are kind of stopping it from moving when it fires, aren't they?
Yeah.
Iconic weapon, the Vickers water-cooled. we stick with this.
Yes.
We don't move to an air-cooled medium machine gun in the Second World War.
No.
We stick with the water-cooled one, and we're still carrying the condenser around. This little tin behind is called the condenser. Sorry if you already know. There's about 7-8 pound of water in the jacket around the machine gun, which is why the barrel looks so thick. It's actually a water jacket. You can remove this tube, and just the water vapor will evaporate because the water is cooling the barrel. But in the British service, they carry this condenser around, which is just a tin, and the water vapor recollects in there, so they can use it again later.
Yeah.
Basically, a brown water system. But again, being all sculpted in one piece, really nice finish. Is in the iconic seated pose. The sandbag really helps tell the story a little bit more, doesn't it? And these two identical pieces, they look like they are. Which is a bit more problematic because the other two guys are wearing berets in my crew.
Yep.
So they're kind of Canadians, however you look at it, right?
Especially the way he's wearing the beret. This one, the guy pointing's almost wearing it in the Polish style.
Yeah.
So all the Scottish tam o' shanter. So
yes. So that's a bit more disappointing that those guys. There may be something about machine gun crews in some of the British infantry divisions in this period. Maybe the ordinary soldier had been issued with a beret by that point. I don't know.
I don't know. It could be just that they distinguish themselves, and you know.
But these two guys being in berets means they're going to look different to the rest of your army, and I think that's the rest of the force. And I think that's a shame. Yeah. I mean, if you're doing the Scots one, so again, the backpacks. One of them's got an enamel mug on the back.
If you look at this guy, the gunner,
yeah,
you can even see his hobnails.
You have got 9 hobnails.
Yeah.
In the sole of the boot. That is cool. Yeah. And that's this Cyacass Warlord resin at its best. Now the face is good. The sculpt on the whole is really nice. They're learning more about the process. So this guy sat there is actually the loader. And this piece looks a bit strange at first. This is the belt feeding into it, because you've got this huge tube and you're like, what's that, a mortar tube or something? No, that's just the moulding from the mould.
To strengthen
it's actually 2 hands holding the belt, and this is just keeping it from breaking in transit. Yeah. You're going to cut that off. And so again, they're like understanding the limitations of the materials and how to make it work for what they want by casting this piece slightly separate. I can't remember. I think it feeds in from the right-hand side, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So does this base fit squarely alongside? Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it fits
slots
nicely.
In very nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fits very nicely. So these you're going to fit, and again, so the other problem you sometimes get with these, you know, like I said with the mortar, they're sometimes all like looks like one of them looks like it's firing and one of them looks like nothing's going on, which it doesn't in this case. These are all at similar height.
Yeah,
you often get some crew standing, some crew kneeling, and it can look a bit weird, especially when you've got prone figures like literally on their belly in the same crew as somebody standing up. It looks quite strange. These are all at a similar height position, like they're responding to the same battlefield situation. You get 2 of them. I'm not sure why you get 2 of them if you get the mortar. I mean, it gives you the option, but these come in heavy weapons. I understand why you get 2 of them when you don't get a mortar, because you can't make a heavy weapons platoon.
Yeah, but that's what you've got. You've got your heavy weapons. 2 machine guns, 1 mortar is your heavy weapons platoon.
Yes.
So you obviously, out of those, when we're talking about the 42, you're going to need to build an officer for these guys as well, an officer for the artillery.
Yeah, you're going to need a separate commander for those. The gun crews in the Warlord resin, really nice. The artillery was still in metal, which is... I prefer that to them trying to make it work in Cyacass. It obviously doesn't, so they're sticking with the metal, tried and tested. But those new Diecast models, so much better than the earlier versions. I really like the new ones. I really do. I think they complement the metals, the plastic stuff a lot better than metal does, in my opinion. They seem to be more in scale, because the other thing they've got going for them now is I think they're new sculpts. They're not old sculpts pressed into a wall of resin mold. They're new, designed for the material, so it works well. Yeah. And the masters are clean. They're probably 3D prints, to be honest, from a CAD design.
Yeah, the level of detail in them, the backpacks, everything, the facial expressions, is really good.
Really nice.
Far better, improving all the time. Every time we see a new one. Okay, so the little tank, or
my little tank,
the Humber armoured car.
The Humber armoured car. So this will make you the Mark II or Mark IV. I have made one of these. Johnny B's made a few of these, some for himself. He's made me the Mark II. It's a nice new kit. It's a wargaming kit rather than a modeller's kit. Because of the size of it and the different hatch options and so forth, there are a lot of pieces, but you're not using many of them. Nice big wheels, nice big axles with clean keying points. In this period, if you're playing late war, you want to make the Mark IV Humber. It's not in stats any different, but the difference is how the turret is mounted. I'm trying to remember. The Mark II is a bit closer to the hull. The Mark IV is slightly raised, and so they do look a little bit different. And there is a piece that you use, like the mounting ring is slightly different. One, I think you use the mounting ring on the hull, and the other one you put a mounting ring on the hull. And there's only the one turret to use certain parts of. You can't make...
Yeah, we've got the turret sides.
Can you make two?
No.
No, you can make both, but you need to not glue how you mount the turret. That's what it was. So there is the option to have two, but it's not a clean thing because of there are pieces other than the turret that you need to slot in, which are otherwise going to be loose. If you want to be in period, you want to make the Mark IV. Have you got one of these, mate?
I haven't got, no. I've only got British paratroopers. I've not got any other British forces at this moment. So I haven't built a Humber armoured car. I built the 222, which was designed at the same time. Not much different.
Came out at the same time, yeah.
Don't be scared about how many bits on there. Once you start putting it together, then it all becomes pretty clear and simple.
You've got kind of 4 or 5 pieces that make the whole, and once that's in place, you can kind of see where everything goes. Then it becomes very clear, like you say. It is well keyed. You're not going to... Your whole sides are not going to slip away from you. There's big grooves in here as to where it fits in. Everything lines up very well. And the only mistake that you could make if you're not paying close attention, there are 5 wheels here. One goes on the back. That's the one with the cover over the mounting point. Because it isn't mounted. The others are. So that's the one that goes on the back. You might glue that in the wrong place if you're not paying attention.
One of the strange things about this is a really, really tall vehicle.
Is it?
I standing next to it, my head comes up to the bottom of the turret. So the turret is probably the commander is probably in the region of about 10 foot above the ground.
Right.
It is a high vehicle.
Mike is a tank museum member and a regular nuisance down there, hassling the staff many weekends. He lives close by, you see. So you stood next to a lot of military vehicles from the period. If you say this one's tall, I believe you. And I don't know what the thinking with that is. It does have this vehicle. There's a whole bunch of British armoured cars made by different people, and they all kind of look very similar. I don't actually know what the difference between this and the Staghound is, and I couldn't tell you which was which without having a silhouette guide in front of me. To me, they're all a car with a turret on the top. It looks like an armoured car. It looks like a car with a turret on it.
Most people of a certain generation, they say armoured car, you think Daimler Dingo.
Right.
And the Action Man.
Oh, because the Action Man had the Daimler Dingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Humber.
How about lovely little kit? The Sherman Firefly, or the Sherman 5C.
Yeah.
So Sherman 5, to the Americans, this is the M4A4.
Yep.
And to us, it's the Sherman 5. The Firefly is a variant of the Sherman 5. Sherman 5s are pretty much exclusively in British service. We've just had a quick look at the kit. There is only the 17-pounder gun, so you can't actually make a standard Sherman 5 out of this. Whether there's like another sprue, because this, like others like it, this is a nice looking Wargamers kit. Although it's across 3 sprues, there are not many pieces here. Goes together really well. You've got that classic canoe that you put your upper hull, you glue your road wheels to, that are all in a single piece, and then attach the tracks to it and start building the turret. Fantastic.
A point I noticed on this,
yeah,
a lot of these kits, even though they're designed as Wargamers, you have a top track and a bottom track,
yeah,
and then you have an end plate. This doesn't have them, it's just got the 2 tracks.
What do you mean? You mean the third piece that connects the 2? Yes, that is true, but I think if you look, doesn't this one socket into that one? There's a contact point here. So there's a nice clean contact point.
That's what I mean. Instead of having to do 4 contacts on each track, you've only got 1 at each end now.
Yes.
Which stops us having that.
Well, if there's a risk with any of these models not coming out as it's the joins in the tracks, I would definitely make sure that while that glue is drying, where you've connected the upper and the lower track parts, that you're paying attention that a gap doesn't emerge, especially if you're using a plastic glue, because a plastic glue won't dry for a while. And once you've got that gap, it can be quite difficult to fix it. So the Sherman Firefly, then, it's a Sherman 5 that's been upgraded to take the 17-pounder gun.
Yep.
The 17-pounder gun comes into service, I think, in 1943. Generally speaking, British tank troops in the late war, they start sort of D-Day, there's maybe 1 Sherman Firefly per platoon. As we go through, and there's more and more of these available, it's 2 or even 3 in the late ones. So it's an increasingly common tank, and it's needed because if you look at the half the armour in the German army in 1944 is Panthers.
Yes.
Half of it is Panzer IVs or Stugs. But half tank production is Panthers. Usually a Panzer division has got 2 battalions of tanks. 1 is Panther, 1 is Panzer IV. And the 75mm gun on the Sherman will not penetrate the front armour of Panther. The 17-pounder will, however, go through the front armour on Tiger at quite a long way. It's a high-velocity, purpose-built gun. You're saying, like, oh, why did we never repurpose an anti-aircraft gun like the 3.7-inch? Well, because we built this, and this thing did the job. To get it into a Sherman turret, though, was a problem. So the turret on this is quite different to the other Shermans, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stands out.
The breech on the 17-pounder was so much longer.
Yeah. Because the shell is so much bigger.
In theory, when it recoiled, it would hit the back of the turret, which is where the radio was.
And smash the radio up.
So the British turret came with an extra square box, a bustle, which put the radio outside of the turret to make the room. So that's another signature part of... When you see a 76mm Sherman and a Firefly, look at the back of the turret. If there's an extra long box on the back, then you'll know it's a Firefly because of that radio being outside.
The 17mm is quite a bit longer than the 76mm, the American anti-tank version of it. And the only issue with this was there were never enough 17-pounders because it was such a fantastic gun. Is there anything difficult to build on here? No, you have the 3-part transmission cover. Here,
I've noticed on the 3-part where the rivets for it are, they're actually separate.
Yeah, and I think that's a moulding thing.
Yeah.
So with injection moulded plastic, it tends to take detail better in as long as it's running in the same plane as the surface. So if you see like the upper deck with the Sherman upper hull, all of the detail is on that surface. Fortunately, there's very little detail required on the side.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that you have these plates, bulge plates sticking out the side. So it is a plique, but it's not the soldiers doing it. It is added to the design. So the Sherman is criticised in the desert. The fact said, the Germans hit us in the side, the shell goes straight through, sets fire to the tank, and we all die. So to respond to this, they get like a 1-inch armour and weld it to the side. And it's the side where either ammunition is stored or where crew are to make them feel like something has been done about it. In truth, that kind of a plique armour in testing makes no real difference, and they knew that, but it gave the troops some confidence. The actual solution was wet ammunition stowage, which is a different conversation altogether. But you'll see that especially in this design, like a lot of the British vehicles are slightly different. American manufactured vehicles in British service are slightly different from stock, and it's usually because we're buying them and saying, well, we don't quite like it as it comes. We'd like you to change this, this, and this, and then we'll buy 10,000 of them, thank you. So they tend to be slightly different, and that's one of the changes. Although you do see that on the American tanks as well. Another
point to remember, there's no bow gun.
Yes, so that's here. This is blanked off, whereas this has normally got a bow machine gun here. And it's blanked off because
the 17-pounder shells were so much bigger, they needed more storage, so they did completely away with the bow gunner, and that's where a lot of the shells are stored.
The space where him and his weapon was, the hatches are separate, which I'm not quite sure why. Presumably the hatches are separate so you could mould them open, actually. These are the crew hatch.
On your one,
Well, and they're here, because you've got 2 crew figures on there who are British, but only one turret hatch that's openable. The other one is moulded. So the loader's hatch is moulded. Now, if you're going to mould one of these hatches open and use a crew figure here, that is the driver. There is no bow gunner, so anyone who's sticking his head out of here is supposed to be driving. But you could conceivably do it. I don't know that I would. I mean, you'd certainly, when they're training, they often do that, because you obviously get much better vision by sticking your head out. But if you're in a battle, I don't think the driver probably should have his head out of the tank.
No.
Although you could, I guess.
Another little addition on here, we've got a Cullen hedge cutter.
Have you? Oh, yes. Which is interesting.
This is crossing the Rhine, so they've probably done away with these. After D-Day, when they were going through the bocage, they found it really difficult to go through the hedgerows. And then an American guy took the Czech hedgehog, crossed over angle iron.
The beach defences, which is like crossed sharpened girders, those are intended to rip the bottom out of boats coming in at high tide, which is why you can see them on the beach, is because, you can't land at high tide because we'll rip the bottom out of your boats. So the beach looks like it's covered in them because the tide has receded.
Yeah. So it's a tribute to this guy Cullen, I think he was American, is he took this angle iron, put it on the front of the tank in sharpened edges, and then as it went through the hedges, it just cut the bottom of the edges off.
It's like improvised bulldozer blade. It's gonna lift itself. Yeah. I mean, he's saying hedgerows. The bocage are more like mild embankments with hedges and undergrowth, and it's quite thick. It was a challenge to get through. The reason why I found it a strange inclusion is the bocage is not in the British sector.
No.
So I'm not sure that there were any Fireflies anywhere near any bocage. The British are fighting in Caen and to the west on whatever that hill is called. That's just east, not west, east. The Americans are in the western position, which is where the bocage country is, with Cobra and all that. So I'm not saying there are no British tanks ever outfitted with a Collins hedge car, but it may be the case that there were none outfitted with it. Because they weren't in that part of the country, they didn't have that problem.
Yeah, the only thing I can think is sort of like some
Looks cool,
looks a good idea. We might need it. Let's put one on.
The idea of turning your tank into a bulldozer is not a new idea.
Yeah.
That's the British Army has got loads of Churchills that do that, engineering vehicles, and they have dozer blades and ploughs and stuff like that. So that it might have happened at some point, I don't know. But it's really, A, it's a Normandy thing,
Yeah.
and B, it's an American sector thing. If you know more, and I'm mistaken, and maybe there is some element of the British fighting in the Bocage, but I think we're busy in Caen and further east of that, fighting the reinforcements which are coming down from the northeast, because the Germans were expecting the invasion to be in the Pas-de-Calais rather than in Normandy. So they're coming down that road. We're fighting east. The Americans are fighting to the west.
And the other thing it does include, includes the side skirts.
Yes.
Which is another, did they, didn't they, and how often do you see them fitted?
So they're not even armour. They're just tin plate or steel plating. And they found in Normandy, they must have used them because it was in Normandy in the narrow country lanes. They were saying these things we need to stop using them because they get ripped off.
Yeah.
So they must have been using them, at least in part. But yeah, these side skirts, a lot of the American ones don't have them. They're much more common in the desert. In Normandy, if you're doing that 44 thing, they stopped issuing them in most cases because they just got ripped off. But maybe they do still come from the factories with it. But I like the skirts because it's a dealer's choice.
Yeah.
It's your model. With skirts and without skirts is both correct.
And again, it's just a bit like the tracks. It's a long piece that could suffer from sort of like some warpage.
Oh, you definitely, if you want to...
And then gluing it on it.
Yeah, cutting it up and moving it.
Yeah.
And they are, well... Yeah.
They will only go on one side each.
They'll only go on one way, and they do fit, and there's a keying point.
Yeah.
They do fit in line there. I was just trying to remember how it worked. Yeah, that way into there, it keys, so it's in the right place and the right length. Firefly in game, great vehicle.
Yeah.
I think as a gamer, different people have different views. I think you either want loads of armour and crap guns because you want something that can take a lot of punishment and is cheap, or relatively cheap, or you want loads of firepower and crap armour because you want to min-max in that direction.
Yeah.
The Firefly is allowing you to min-max in the direction of firepower. It is a very powerful gun, but you're not paying all the hull points. Once you get to the kind of anti-tank power of these guns, I don't think it matters how good your hull is, to be honest. Tiger's not particularly, even in game, I think it's more than 50% knockout Tiger. So what was that armour worth? Often nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to roll a dice that's important, you're going to get a 1, right?
No.
So that's the...
Because it's a British dice, we'll be using green dice. So.
Green dice are the best ones in your experience. Yeah. All right. That's the Firefly. It's not a new kit, but it is a good kit. Serviceable from much of the mid to late war. Core inclusion of any British list. What do you think as a box overall, and how well does it respond to the new formation? I think that's important.
42 figures.
Yes.
Normally you used to get like 36.
Yes.
So 42 figures. You can go the 2 infantry, 2 engineers on the smaller squad. You can go the biggest,
and then get all the weapons.
And still get all the special weapons.
If you cut the squad size back.
So you've got so much versatility, and you're almost not needing the add-on to get your first big army. You know, you've got the flexibility to build the 2. You know, you build these special engineers, but the rest of the figures will go back into the original squad anyway. If you flexibility of games, you know, the riflemen from the engineer squad are going to be exactly the same as.
Yeah, you just make sure the guys with the shovels are the ones denoted as engineers or something. Yes, so you get 2 machine guns and a mortar. So that's a medium weapons team. Yep. Mortars and machine guns. I can't remember. Are they weapons teams? I think.
Yeah, the heavy weapons team. Yeah,
heavy weapons platoon. The artillery piece is a bit more of a problem.
One piece.
One piece doesn't fit.
Yeah. Well, you can actually the artillery. You take one weapon and then you add up to 2 or 3 more.
Oh right, but you need another commander for that.
You still need another commander for it.
Yeah.
And then we've got a 2-man
which is the minimum for an armoured platoon, is 2 vehicles.
2 vehicles, yeah.
Yeah. So, and if you were doing if you wanted to use all of them, you'd need a 3rd HQ. Because you have your engineer platoon, your mandatory rifle platoon, your engineer platoon, your weapons platoon, engineer platoon, rifle platoon, weapons platoon, and your artillery platoon. You need 4 HQs to field all of those weapons.
But you've got the special character as one of them.
Yeah.
And like I say, 42 figures. There's so... It's probably going to take quite a bit of planning before you actually start building these.
Yeah.
But once you do, you've got the complete kit. You've got to you buy 1 more tank, you buy 1 more artillery piece, and you start filling it out. You know,
and you don't even need to buy the tank.
Yeah,
because one of those 2 vehicles is your headquarters vehicle. Yeah. And it's 1 to 2, isn't it? I think the minimum legal armoured platoon is 2 vehicles.
Yes,
one of which is the HQ. Hopefully, I'm not wrong. So the only thing that I think that this misses is I think it needed a 2nd gun. Like in terms of ready to go, I think using an artillery platoon where you're just taking 1 gun.
Yeah.
I think is putting a lot of load on. I'm not saying no one would do it. I'm not that gamey about it. But I think so in my list that I've played, I've usually taken a light anti-tank gun or an anti-tank gun and a howitzer if I'm taking guns because I'm putting another HQ down.
So just a 6-pounder in here. A
6-pounder in here I think would have just... You know, you probably couldn't play with all of the units all the time, but you had the option. I think it's maybe the thing that's missing. An artillery platoon of 1 gun feels weird.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe it's normal. Maybe that's the HQ where you just take the 1.
Yes.
Because he's just going to sit at the back, never go anywhere, pull his dice out and snap 2 with his own gun. This is me and my gun having our turn.
But yeah, that's a fantastic set. Same, seeing more figures in there, so much more flexibility.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic sprue with all the weapons on there.
The sprue is great. The models in there are all good kit. There's no kind of... All companies got some legacy items that are a bit iffy.
Yeah.
There's none of that in this set. There's some legacy items. The 25-pounder in metal is better than anything that they probably would try and produce in Psyocast. It's the only thing that I think, Warlord, if you're listening... Make plastic cannon.
Yeah.
We want plastic cannon. The barrels stay straight.
Yeah.
They may snap occasionally, but they never bend. Anyway, we liked it.
Yep. Operation Plunder complete, sir.
Operation complete. Thank you for watching.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye. So if you like bolt action and you're looking to start the system or start a new army, on our website, modelingforadvantage.co.uk, we have a range of the starter sets, as well as a few of the starter armies. Do consider buying from us as a way of supporting the channel. Thank you for watching.